Moving to Margate was really beneficial for the whole creative process, more so because I felt a bit freer here. Having space is just wonderful, and having that outlook and being on the coast, I feel really liberating. I'm Rose, I'm the founder of Rove Knitwear. We are in Margate, in our studio come factory where we produce most of our products. I first got into making through sewing and through making clothes. I was quite young, I was around 7 years old, and my mum was a seamstress, so we had a sewing machine and lots of fabric in the house. And at that age I was just making clothes for my toys, dolls and teddies and things. And I also was obsessed with making nets. You know, when you have a piece of paper, you cut it into a shape and fold it into a box. It's only recently that I've realised those two things are quite similar. My brain obviously works in that three-dimensional way, and then that progressed on to making clothes for myself. And I eventually, when I started thinking about what I wanted to do for a career, I decided to follow that and go to Winchester School of Art and study textiles. I left for Peru after my first real job in the fashion industry. I was around 25 and I was really hungry for another challenge. My friend had recently come back from South America, and she was visiting lots of different NGOs in the area, and she messaged me and said that she'd found this incredible NGO called Awamaki, who work with women-led groups focusing on traditional craft. And so I called up and I signed up and went there for 6 months, helping develop a product for them to start utilising all of the waste alpaca fibre, which was too short to spin into yarn. So I did a felting project with the Quechuan women. In return, they were teaching me Spanish, and I was living with them, teaching them a bit about sort of basic business skills. And yeah, it was a really lovely trade-off of skills and knowledge, and felt quite at home there after 6 months. My experience in Peru was more influential as like the bigger picture, so more of a influence in my career. What I really loved about being there and watching how they produced knitwear was the whole process was literally done in the back garden. There was an alpaca, it was sheared, they spun it into yarn, they knitted it all in the same area, it was all washed and produced and sold in the same place. Previous to that, I was working in London in a design job. Yarn would get shipped in from China and we knit it into a design. Then it would be taken off to the US and sold to someone who I didn't know. And then that company, that brand, would then most likely reproduce it back in China, and then it would get shipped back to the UK or the US and be sold. So this process was so out of my hands, and I felt like I wasn't a part of it. And I just wanted, when I came back from Peru, I just felt like I really wanted to see everything. I wanted that locality and transparency and traceability of the yarn as well, so I knew that the yarn I was using was good and I could meet people and get to know everybody in the process. So although it was very inspiring to be there and to see the colour, and I really enjoyed going to all the textile markets and learning how to do the backstrap weaving, I feel like the majority of the influence was more to do with them building a business from that. We work with 4 main mills. We source all our wool from the UK. There's one in Aberdeenshire, 2 in Yorkshire, and 1 in County Donegal in Ireland. And they're all 100% wool, so different types. We've got the merino lamb's wool, the British wool, and then the Donegal wool, which is also a merino with the little fleck in it. There are so many benefits of wool. It's breathable and it's temperature regulating, so it will keep you warm in cool weather or to keep you cool in hot weather. It's biodegradable, so once you've got to the point where a jumper is far too worn to ever wear again, it will go back to the earth, which is beautiful. It's even odour and spill resistant because of the lanolin in the wool. It's kind of protecting the fibres, which means you don't have to wash it as much, which means there's less water usage, and due to the fact that it's 100% natural, you won't get microfibres and microplastics in the machine after washing. We start with research, and that's a tricky one because I quite often get asked what inspires me, and that's hard to pinpoint. Everything's quite subconscious. I might pull inspiration from something, tangible thing that I saw years ago, or an exhibition that was a long time ago. My mind's eye is incredibly detailed, so I sort of pull together all these thoughts and can almost design something in my head, and then I put it onto paper. So that's when the sketching and drawing comes together. But my understanding is that it's quite often the other way around. You sit down with your art materials and you start sketching out ideas. I feel like the big part of the process is done in my head, and then I need to convey it to other people. So then I sit down and I draw it. Following that, I choose a colour palette. I have a core palette that I like to use every season, but then I just pull in maybe 1 or 2 extra colours each spring, summer or autumn, winter, that then become sort of the focal point of the collection. Then I take that through to the programming software. So we've recently acquired some new machinery which comes with software. So the process has changed quite a bit in the past couple of years, but still really enjoying sort of doing the programming myself now rather than sending off a CAD, and developing a pattern on this software. And then we go through to swatching. So everything's swatched in small pieces on the machine, and you can get to sort of test whether that colour combination really works in real life, or you tweak it, you tweak the tension, you take measurements so that you know what size you want your scarf or your jumper to be. And gradually, as you get a clearer idea of what the final product's going to look like, you start going bigger scale. Eventually you get sort of a full-size thing that you wash, test and label and try on, and then you know whether you're good to go for the full production. The studio was an old tram depository. It was built sort of early 1900s, beginning of the Edwardian era, and a tramway was built that ran up North Down Road, which then started to become a bit of a commercial hub. So the trams would come here and pick up and drop off things that would then be taken to the shops on the local street. We moved into this space last year. We were previously in another old building, which used to be a Victorian department store. So we needed to have a bigger space in order to house all of the machinery that we've recently acquired. It's been amazing to have this space. I feel so lucky to have an area now where we can invite the public in and they can try on our garments, and also to have just a huge packing table and the ability to produce and finish and sell all on site feels like a step closer to that dream that I had when I was in Peru and wanted to just see the entire process in my back garden. That feels like I'm getting there now. It's important to say that our process does use machinery. That was actually a big draw for me to start knitwear, because I really love working on machinery. Machines come in different levels of automation, so there's still a huge amount of the process here that's done by hand. It knits the fabric, but then we need to create the garments, finish it, hand press it, wash it, sew labels on. I'm not sure how important it is to buy handmade products, but I do think it's incredibly important to buy locally made, high quality, high-end natural products. I think that's very important. I do think that it is important for humans to make and use their hands, because it gives you a great sense of purpose and almost like a different state of mind to produce something. There's nothing quite like pride that you feel in something you've made, not for anyone else, just for the sake of making.